So we're looking at the moon with Regulus just up above it, slightly to the right. And we're shooting at 6400 ISO, f11, 40th of a second. And then down on the left there should be another star. Not sure which one it is. I can check that out later. Just going to reframe this slightly while we're still running. There we go. I think I'll raise the camera just slightly. Alright, let's see. Okay, so there we go. 40th of a second, f11, ISO 6400. We're looking at the moon and Regulus. I've taken a bunch of still photos, but I thought I'd just do a little bit of video, if only to narrate what I've done. By the way, the sky we're looking at is actually quite a bit darker than what I'm actually seeing by a stop or two. At least a stop, maybe as much as 2 stops. But if I expose for the sky, I'm going to have an even more washed out moon. Let's see what we can do with the f-stops here. We're going to, first of all, we'll open up. So there, now we're wide open at the 5.6, and now what we see, we see some earth shine on the moon's, in the dark part of it. We can see some Maria. We see the star on the lower left there, Regulus up to the right a bit. But then, of course, the moon itself is washed out. But let's go with the... let's go to f8. So that's f8. And you can still see some Maria. We're just going to increase the shutter speed. We're going to bring it down. So now we got the moon nicely exposed. And we can still see Regulus. But the sky is completely black, whereas what I'm looking at is a nice deep blue sky. So unfortunately, you can't have the sky and the moon at the same time. Let's come back to the sky exposure. Yeah, so 30th of a second is the slowest I can go. And that's at 24 frames per second. 6400 ISO. The moon's moving down through the frame. Just going to raise the camera again. So there we go. So we'll just let the moon make its way through the frame here, I think. And yeah, so we see Regulus, we see the other star down on the left, I'm not sure which one it is. And we see some detail in the dark side of the moon facing us. And then, of course, the bright portion's pretty well completely washed out. Now it looks like we may be getting some vibration, maybe just from my talking's doing it. I'll stand back further. But it's not the sturdiest tripod, it's not the sturdiest tripod mount on the lens and so on, so that could allow for some vibration. Looks like we might have a little cloud there, or it just could be my screen. And something flew through the frame. I think it was just a mosquito, actually. Thought it might have been a bat for a second, but I think it was just a mosquito. It looks like there are some clouds there, so we may be seeing a little bit of a cloud. Yeah, there's a cloud passing somewhat above the moon. I'll see if I can just change the angle a little bit here. So we got, okay, you don't really see it that well. So we'll go back to just looking at the moon and Regulus. Hang on a sec here. Just raise it up. We'll move it off to the left a bit, and we'll just let it descend through the frame. So my battery is about to give out, so I'll have to replace the battery soon. So we're just going to let this run for a little bit and watch the moon and Regulus and this other star track across the frame. And so the sky in the image is somewhat darker than what I'm seeing with the naked eye, but not terribly so. And it's reasonable. It's just, you know, about a stop or so darker, and it's nice to be able to see Regulus and the other star there, whose name I wish I had looked up. But I knew the moon was going to be quite close to Regulus tonight, and I wanted to get some, you know, astronomy photos of that. And we were getting a little bit of video too. I think maybe I will change lenses and try and get the cloud passing over. I really need a not so powerful lens. Right now it's 400 millimeters, if I haven't already said so, at f8, which is a stop down from the maximum aperture of this lens. It's an old Nikkor 400 millimeter ED lens, manual focus, and f8 should you know, give it somewhat better optical quality than shooting at wide open at 5.6. Should have somewhat better overall optical performance. And yes, that battery is not looking good. Video will eat it up even more than still photos. So yeah, I'm looking at this cloud. I'm seeing it getting darker and darker. I want to get some sort of overall sky shots. So I think very soon, as the basically I think when the moon sort of hits the middle of the frame here, I'm probably going to end the video and change the battery to a fresh one and take some still shots with sort of an overall view of the sky, which is getting dark enough now to get some nice sky overall shots. So it's still fairly light on the horizon. Let's get the batteries out here anyway. So get prepared. There we go. So yeah, Regulus right up, almost just slightly to the right of the middle of the frame, the moon coming towards the middle of the frame, and this other star somewhat lower to the left. Again, I'm not sure what it is. And I know there's I don't know if it's a dust spot or some kind of not so great thing on the lens right now. Okay, I'm actually seeing the clouds. I should probably take a still shot because the clouds are actually quite close to the moon at this point. Don't see it so much in the video. Maybe let's see, I'm going to open all the way to 5.6. It might show us the clouds. Yeah, there we go. So now we can see the clouds, and yeah, it's actually kind of fun. Just going to lower, or I should say, yeah, well, I'm actually lowering the lens so as to raise the moon and Regulus, etc. So this is actually the bottom part of the clouds. There's actually quite a large cloud above, but we're seeing a little bit of cloud here. So this is wide open, f5.6, 6400 ISO, which I think is as high as I can go in the video mode. And a 30th of a second, which is the slowest shutter speed I can use. in video. I mean, in stills, you know, I could go to a second if I wanted to, or longer, but of course you get the motion then, you know, if you do a 1 second exposure with a powerful telephoto lens like this one, you're going to get motion blur in the moon and even the stars to some extent. So I think I'm going to go back to shooting stills, try and get a still shot or two with the cloud showing. So again, it's the 27th of June, 2017.